Have you ever had your heart broken? I mean, it feels like the rug was ripped from under you. It feels like a knife to your heart. It feels like your world is ending and things are falling apart. There's a plethora of ways that you can describe it, but it's definitely one of the worst feelings to ever go through. Like being heartbroken is something that can really be a hard challenge to overcome. However, today I want to give you three simple steps that you can use to overcome heartbreak and to move forward with your life. And so, before we jump in, I want to remind you that God is with you. The Bible says that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. And having your heart broken, that is exactly how it feels. Like your whole spirit is crushed, your whole soul is crushed, your whole life is crushed. But there is hope. It can be hard when you're in the thick of it to feel that way. It can feel like, again, like the world is ending, your world is ending. Like you're never going to have a good thing again. It can feel like a lot of different things. However, you don't have to stay there. You may not have the hope in the moment to pull yourself out, but if you were to use these three steps and go through each step, you can be back to feeling like yourself and moving forward with your life within just these three steps. And I would say within 3 months. Now, I will give the caveat that depending on your situation, there may be some residual things that you will have to continue to nurture and navigate after the fact. However, if you use these three steps, I would say within 3 months, you will be well on your way to your healing and restoration journey. And so, three steps. The first of them is to rest and recover. Again, when heartbreak happens, it really, knocks you off kilter a lot of the times. Like whether it was a surprise or it was something that you were kind of expecting, you will likely feel overwhelmed. Your mind, body, and spirit will likely feel like they're on overload. There will be lots of thoughts. There will be likely a heaviness or tension within your body, those types of things. And your spirit will just be heavy. Some actions you will take during this phase, the rest and recover phase, are to be kind to yourself. You don't want to spend this time beating yourself up about the decisions that you made, about how you were so dumb, you didn't see the red flags, or about anything like that. In this phase, you want to be kind to yourself. You want to speak gentle words to yourself. You want to shut down any thoughts and ruminations, that are self-defeating or that are beating up on yourself. You want to take space. And so this is a time when you really want to resist that urge to reach back out to that person. I know when it's fresh, they can be tempting when, you may want to, if you guys were together for a longer time, and even if you weren't, there may be this, there's going to be a void essentially because they filled a space in your life at one point and now they aren't there. Your heart is broken. And so you need to resist the urge to reach out because you need to give yourself that space to heal, to nurture yourself so that you can move forward. You want to carve out time to grieve. And so, whether that be you set a deadline, a timeline, like this is the timeline I give myself to go full out grieving, or if you are a busy woman, you're a trailblazing woman, you have responsibilities, you have a job, you have a business to run, you have children to raise, or whatever else it may be, that may mean you have to kind of schedule out your time to grieve. That means that you give yourself time in the morning, maybe time at lunchtime, time at nighttime to do what you need to do, to cry it out, to journal it out, whatever it may be. But you may have to, because of the demands of life, they don't stop just because something happened in your life. You may need to schedule out time to grieve. You want to express your feelings and thoughts in this time, and definitely in a safe space. I would recommend journaling or recording voice memos that you're never going to send to the other person. These are just for you to express and release the things that are within you so they're not just building up. This is also a time where you can decide to hire a therapist. And you can hire a therapist at either one of the phases, but if you're having a hard time in this phase, this is a good time to hire a therapist. Why? Not because you're broken, not because you can't go through it on your own, but because they can really be a listening ear for you to express and release, but also to give you tools and tips and guidance and accountability to help you move through the phases of grief and move into the rest of your life and kind of do some of the actions that I am sharing with you here. Clear out old photos, messages, etc., gifts, all of that. You want to clear that out. You definitely don't want it in a space where you can see it regularly. I recommend throwing it away and deleting everything. But if you're not there yet, you're like, I'm not ready to let go. At least put it away somewhere where you're not going to see it regularly, where you can't stumble upon it by accident. Like, you want to put it away so that it is not something that will catch you off guard at any given time. So again, I recommend deleting fully, but if you can't, in the moment bring yourself to do that, then put it away where you will not see it at any time in the near future without intentionally going to seek it out. And then you want to continue to take care of yourself. Shower daily, eat regularly, etc. Take care of at least the bare minimum of your basic needs. Make sure you're getting sleep, etc. And I know that can be challenging, but this recovery process, this rest and recovery process will be a lot harder if you're not taking care of yourself in the process. So the next phase is to remember and recenter. And this is where you're going to remember who you are. You are going to, when something happens, especially if it was something that involved betrayal or, abandonment or something really heavy, rejection, etc., it could cause you to, feel, question yourself a little bit. And this is the time when you want to remind yourself of who you really are. Outside of that relationship, outside of what happened that broke your heart, who are you at the core? You want to remind yourself of that, during this phase, because you're going in the process of, healing from what happened and rebuilding towards, the next phase of your life. And so it's important that you remember who you were just as yourself, knowing, that you are still that person. And maybe, you've even learned and grown and you're better than the previous version. But you want to definitely remember who you are. Recenter your focus on the things that matter most to you. And so this is a time when you want to be reminded of just, the things that you like, the things you love, the vision you have for your life, etc. And I'm going to give you some key actions that you can do to actually, bring those things back to the forefront. But, when you are in a situation, sometimes, you do a lot of compromising, and which is good in those situations, but you bring in things that are very important to the other person, etc., which is necessary. But now that you are moving forward, on your own, you want to recenter yourself on those things that matter most to you. Some tangible actions you can take during this phase is to spend time with God and read scriptures that speak to how He sees you. Because again, if you had something that happened that was really heavy, and even if it wasn't heavy, if you're heartbroken, then you still could use this step anyway. You want to be reminded of what God says about you. You want to read all those great scriptures that tell you how you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139. You want to read how you are a chosen people and a royal priesthood. I know that is in Romans, but I can't tell you the scripture right now. You want to read those types of scriptures that remind you of who you are. You want to read the scriptures that say that, a virtuous woman, her value is far above rubies, etc. Those things, and remind yourself of that. And you want to pair those with affirmations. So either look for affirmations online that you can use and speak over yourself, or, create some affirmations from scriptures yourself so that you can begin to speak life back into yourself. Spend time with your good girlfriends. Listen, and I'm talking about those good girlfriends that know you at your core and who can affirm and love on you. Those who are not going to judge you. Those who are not going to say, see, I told you a long time ago. Those who are not going to do any of that, but who are going to embrace you, love on you, affirm who you are at the core. Because again, this is all about that remembering and recentering. So they're going to help you, in that process of remembering who you are. They're going to love on you and, fill in some of those spaces that you are feeling in your heart. Of course, God is the only one that can truly fill voids, but He definitely puts us in community so that we can have those tangible people that can hold us up in hard times as well. And so spend some time with your good girlfriends, those girls' nights in, movie nights. Even if you don't want to talk, it doesn't always have to be talking. If you guys are good girlfriends, there are times when you can just say, hey girl, can you come over please? I just want some company. Or hey girl, can I come over because I don't even want to be in this house, right now anymore. I need to just get out and be around my peoples, right? If you have good girlfriends like I do, you guys can spend time together and words don't even have to be exchanged, if you are not ready to talk about anything. And so get around those people that love you. And if your family is supportive, your family is a safe space, then, you can insert your family there as well. Again, hire a therapist or a coach if needed, as you're going through this part of the process. Remind yourself of past victories and future desires. And so you want to, again, you're boosting yourself up, you're recharging your confidence, you are recovering from, whatever part of you was a little bit shaken by whatever has happened. And so remind yourself of the victories that you've had in the past, both, not even just relationally, but just in life that, connect to who you are and your capabilities, and remind yourself of those. And then begin to remind yourself of future desires. Those things can still happen for you. They're still available to you. Just because this other person won't be along for the journey does not mean that it won't be something that you will see in the future. So begin to remember those things that you had on your recent vision board or goals list. Go and pull those out. If your vision board is not somewhere visual, go and pull it out from wherever it is and make it visible to you on a regular basis. Pull out that goals list and remind yourself of what you had set forward. Now, I will say, and I'm not going to get into this here because that's not what this video is about. You may look at that vision board and that goals list and decide that some of these things need to be tweaked. But don't tweak them if you're just bringing them down based on your level, your low level of hope in this moment. Only tweak them if you find that, hey, maybe some of these things are no longer aligned and you need to change them. But regardless, looking at that vision board and looking at that goals list will put you back in that space of moving forward, of looking toward the future, of being hopeful again. Shameless plug, if you have your restored journal, this is where you want to get into month 4, because in month 4 we talk about detoxing from dead things. We talk about relationships, we talk about spaces, we talk about different things there. And so there's some journal prompts that can really help you with this phase of letting go of that person, and even letting go of parts of yourself that maybe have been birthed from whatever that relationship brought, whether good or bad. If it was a good thing that truly reflects who you are, then we're going to keep it. But sometimes when we go through things, maybe if it was a toxic relationship or it puts you in compromising spaces or whatever it may be, you may have picked up some personality traits that are not really yours. And so you want to get into the Restored Journal month 4 and get into some of those journal prompts as well to help guide you back to that centered place of remembering who you are. And lastly, for this phase, you want to go have some fun. Listen, I know when you're brokenhearted, that's probably one of the last things you want to do. But again, we're in phase 2 now. We're likely in month 2 if you are, moving through this rapidly. And this is the time where you want to push yourself out there to have some fun, to break the ice, to break off, some of the weightiness that you've been sitting in and crying in and journaling in and all of that. You want to break it up. Now, make sure that it is fun, that you won't regret later. Like, we're not going to slash tires for fun, okay? We're not going to TP people's houses for fun or anything crazy that can get you arrested or anything like that. But we're going to go have, or, you don't even want to do anything where you're drinking a whole bunch or doing anything, where you're going to regret it later that will put your career or your business in jeopardy. None of that, but some good, wholesome fun is what you want to implement. Go skating, go bowling, go to the movies, go, I don't know, whatever you like to do. Go to the beach if you live near somewhere warm, whatever it is. If you have the means to, go travel. This is also where you want to, be mindful of your finances. You don't want your fun to be something, again, that you will regret later because you splurged in a time just to cover the emotions. Definitely have the fun within your budget. But yes, give yourself that time and space. And then this is where, after you've done all of that, this is where you can likely get to that place of taking accountability. Now, again, not guilt, not beating yourself up, but taking accountability. Meaning, this is where you can begin to notice, hey, that was a red flag that I ignored. Maybe you can say, hey, I did contribute in this way because I never spoke up, or, because I didn't set a boundary, or whatever it may be. Again, take responsibility for your part, take accountability for your part, and, let their part be theirs and extract the lessons from that relationship, whatever they may be. Now, that part may be ongoing, but this is where you can begin that process, where you can begin to take accountability and extract the lessons from that relationship. And the last phase, ideally, if you're moving through this smoothly, this will be month 3, but if, it's taking you a bit longer, don't feel bad. Just keep moving, wherever you are. But phase 3, restore and renew. This is the part where you are getting your life back. Okay, it's time to be restored and to renew the vision for your life. So you've already been reviewing your vision board. You've already been reviewing your goals list and maybe tweaking some things on it. But now it's time to rise from the dark space you've been in, that dark, grieving, and heavy space that you've been in, and finally close the door on that previous chapter so that you can move forward to begin rebuilding your life. And so in this phase, some actions you want to take are begin re-implementing any habits, good habits or routines that have fallen by the wayside previously. So even though I told you in phase 1 that you wanted to keep it going with your self-care, there may be certain things that you did not keep up in that time. And so this is where you want to begin implementing these things again with consistency. So working out and taking care of your body, eating well, doing your self-care mentally, physically, spiritually, etc., emotionally, whatever that looks like for you, making sure that you're doing those practices on a regular basis. Get back to building your empire. And so whether that be your business, whether that be going back into, your workspace and giving it your 100% again, going back into ministry, whatever it may be, if you're raising children, this is also a part of building your legacy and your empire. So, you definitely couldn't take a time off from mothering during that time, but you want to get back to that top tier 100%, where you were previously. And you will not likely go from 0 to 100, but you want to begin to cycle your way towards the 100%. And so this is where you're getting yourself back into that mindset of, okay, I was down, it knocked me down for a minute, and now I'm back in the game. And so whatever that looks like, start moving forward in that way. You want to appoint some accountability partners. Now, you can either appoint one if you guys are aligned in many different areas, or you can find some that can help you in various areas. So maybe some accountability partners for building your empire, and then some accountability partners for your self-care and making sure you're taking care of yourself, etc. But get some people in the fire with you, because you're digging yourself out of a hole. It can be helpful to have people that you can lock arms with and move forward together with, or who at the very least can check in on you and make sure you're doing the things that you said you want to do. You are moving forward from the dark space and moving towards the light again. Finally, if you did not delete all of your pictures and throw away your gifts and delete the message threads and all of that, delete the post and all of that in phase 1, then this is the time where you finally listen. You had 2 earlier months or however long it took you to go through phases 1 and 2 to, sit with those things. But now it's really time to let it go. It's time to delete it. It's time to throw it away, because it's time to make space for the new, and the new is you. And so you need to delete that old stuff. And it's not just about not seeing it on the regular. I've talked about this in previous videos, but things hold energy a lot of the time. Physical gifts, pictures, etc. You want to release that, because if this was a situation that left you brokenhearted, you're essentially carrying heavy weight around. Even if you guys had good times previously, keep the memories. Maybe later down the road, you'll be able to circle back to those memories, in your mind and remember, the good times. But you don't need those pictures in your phone to do that. You don't need that message thread in your phone to do that. I can't think of one good reason, why it will be helpful for you to go back and read through old messages with, the person that that broke your heart, essentially. I can't think of one good reason that you would need to keep pictures to scroll through later of someone that broke your heart, essentially. And so, I guess if you had kids with the person, those pictures that have you and them and the children, maybe you want to put those in a specific folder. But other than that, we're getting rid of it completely. Let it go. There's no need for you to hold on to it, because again, new spaces, and you also want to clear the space so that when it's time for you to, love again and be loved again, that you're not holding on to dead weight that is, taking up space. And then the last but not least, you want to make time to be in community again. Now, granted, in the last phase, you were with your good girlfriends, you were with your supportive family, etc. But now you want to get back out there, and make community, being in community, a norm for you. And so again, you want to keep those friendship outings and girls' nights in and all of that going. You want to implement or, rejoin your going to church regularly, or, having your small group meetings or whatever it may be that, you have with those around you who you share in spiritual moments with. And then you want to get into group activities, meetup.com, or doing fun things. I like to do skating lessons on certain days of the week. So you want to get back to those things that you like to do around other people. If you're a networking person, I'm not, because I don't like small talk, but I am going to get better at that. But that's besides the point. If you're a networking person, going back to networking events, different things like that. But you want to get back in community again as a regular thing for you. So if you live in a super cultural place as well, this can also look like going to more events and things like that. And so, this is where you are, essentially blossoming back out again. And so just to recap, when you are healing from heartbreak, I have 3 phases you should go through, ideally within 3 months, and, begin to progress into yourself, back to yourself, and forward in your life again. Rest and recover. Give yourself that time, that downtime to grieve, whatever that looks like. Carve it out. Allow it to happen. Allow yourself to feel your feelings, without suppressing them. Pour them out in journaling and in voice memos, whatever it needs to be. No contacting the other person. Remember and recenter. Remember who you are. Recenter on the things that are important to you. Review those old vision boards and goals lists. Spend time with God and your good girlfriends. Pour into yourself. Remind yourself of who you are, and release. And also, this is the phase where you're taking accountability. And lastly, restore and renew. This is where, again, it's time for you to be restored and for you to renew the vision for your life and arise from a dark space and begin to move forward. Close that old door, move forward so that you can get to your new open doors. And this is where you're releasing anything old and you're re-implementing structure and strategy in your life to move forward to your future. So if you find yourself heartbroken right now in this moment, I want to say I feel for you, sis. I'm sending you so much love and hugs in the moments. I want to say to you that you may be feeling hopeless at the moment, but I'm sending you hope at the moment. I want you to move through these phases to get your hope back, to get your identity back, to get your mojo back. There will be better days from now. I need to say that again, because again, when you're in a heartbroken phase, you feel like, listen, I don't know if I'm ever going to be the same again. And maybe you won't be the same again, but you will either be the same or better. Okay. And so there will be better days to come. It does go up from here. And so just a reminder that hope is possible. A joyous future is still possible for you. And so move through these phases with grace. Invite God into your healing journey. And I am wishing you the best. I am sending you again love, hugs, and all of the beautiful things. Go ahead and pre-order your Restored Guided Journal. If you are needing some extra support in this time or at any time in the future, you can have it on deck to have those journal prompts ready and available to you when you need them. And so have a healthy and wholesome rest of your day. And I will talk to you soon, God willing. Love you bunches.